now, obviously. Couple questions on that. You just saw Miami. I know you got plenty of days to prepare, but what are your thoughts kind of looking ahead to Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously an enormous amount of respect, just the way they compete, the way they play. Got a lot of respect for Spo, and I think like probably most teams throughout the course of an NBA season, there's always things you kind of go through as a team,
right.
And certainly they went through their fair share this year. We've gone through ours with injuries and different things, but it's one of those games where for both teams it's one and done, and it's a great opportunity. The guys I think earned the right to be able to play in the game, and that's a great thing. So I'm excited about it. I think the opportunity, and we talked about this maybe even like right when the season started, to our guys to be able to play meaningful games, and all these games really leading up to this point have been meaningful. So I think it's important and helpful to the growth of our younger players.
And then looking ahead to Sunday, I know you're not going to make any final determination now, and you'll meet with your staff, but there's one side of the argument that says rest guys, put them in bubble wrap, no injuries. Another side would say if they don't play Sunday, they go from Friday to Wednesday without playing an NBA game, which is atypical. Maybe get out of rhythm.
And again, this is without speaking medical. I would expect all of our guys to play because I think that's we need that personally. Yeah. I think that's too long to be without rhythm, in my opinion. Yeah. Now, whether or not they play the normal minutes, I don't know, but I can't imagine. And again, hopefully, maybe I got to come back tomorrow and say, "Yep."
We're not holding anything. I'm just saying, what's your feeling?
That my feeling is they need to play.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. My feeling is they need to play, and how we manage. And again, I think with the medical, they've done a great job, but I think you always got to look at what they've done and what's getting ready to come. But in reality, the game in Wednesday could be the last game of the year if we don't win.
Right.
So we got to throw everything we got into that game. And I do think there is a point of, even if we practice and get up and down, I think our guys, it's going to be the last regular season game to be able to play against a different opponent. So I think that would be important for us to be able to, one, play in that game and to be able to have 2 days before we play again.
Billy, what did you think about Julie and his performance?
I was happy for him. I thought he had played some really good games leading up to this game. He just didn't make shots, but he did a lot of really good things. It was good to see him do kind of the same things he had been doing. But tonight he shot the ball well, and he's a really good worker, and he's very conscientious. He's a good team guy, and I think anytime you see a guy put in work like that and have a game like he had tonight, I was happy for him. And with the injury to Josh, we probably needed a little bit more scoring. It was. You didn't know you were going to get what you got from him tonight, but I thought he did a really good job.
You guys have gone up against Miami and lost to Miami the last 2 years in the play-in tournament. Does that carry over at all from year to year? I know they're kind of different teams, different rosters on both sides, but do you feel like any of that carries over?
Yeah, I'm just a big believer that, each game is its kind of its own individual game, its own individual identity. I think what's in the past is kind of in the past. You can take things from games that I think that you can apply going into the next one. But to me, this is totally fresh, totally new, and it's a new season, new year, new team. Everything's new. Surely you're gonna, look at how you played against them the 3 times we've played. Maybe go back, but their rosters changed some, so was ours. So it's not the same exact teams. It's different years and different challenges and different opportunities.
If you win Sunday, you'll have the same record as last year. When you look at that, just how do you reflect on, those journeys were different. And I think going into this year, there's a little bit more uncertainty, just not building around like DeMar, for example. So how do you kind of reflect on that?
And I'm not sure I totally understand the question. And reflect on, in terms of comparing it to last year?
Yeah, just, going into the season, did it feel like there was some uncertainty to you as well? Zach was in trade rumors. DeMar was gone here. You turned the team over a little bit, rotation-wise at the trade deadline. How do you reflect on the journey of this year, I guess?
Yeah, I think like I said earlier to Casey, I think every year for every team when you're playing 82 games, there's going to be stuff that happens. I really appreciate what these guys have done on a lot of different levels. One, I think to change the way we change stylistically and for them to be committed physically, to do that, I think was helpful. I think I said from day one, if we don't run, we're done. I think we've done a good job of maintaining that. I give the guys a lot of credit for the patience they had at the trade deadline when we had 3 new players come in and there was uncertainty with those guys would be traded, and then we're kind of trying to flush all that out and get everybody acclimated. So we went through a lot, but the one thing I appreciated about the group was I think every night they lined up and we made winning a priority. We were trying to win, and we weren't always great, but I thought we stuck together. I thought we competed. I thought we played really hard, and there was some games we fell short, but I think since the trade deadline, I think the brand and the style and how we've played pretty consistently has been good, and I think it's a credit to those guys and what they've been able to do. So, last year's a little bit harder just because Zach went out with the foot injury, Patrick went out. The team was just totally different. Zach had a great year for us. I don't know, it was 50-something games he played. He played great for us. He really did, and he was a total pro and did everything that was asked of him, and he's always had a good relationship with the guys. So it was almost kind of like 2 different teams. I loved my relationship with DeMar and Alex, and them not being here. But I really, really appreciate what these guys have done this year in terms of how they've tried to continually try to get better. As individual players, and they've tried to work to get better as a team.
Bill, you praised him consistently all season, but one of the holdovers is Vooch, and the way he's closing the season. I mean, he's flirted with a triple-double. It's 2 straight games here. Just his commitment to this style of play and to the young teams. He's talked about them rejuvenating him. How do you frame kind of his season overall?
I got such respect for him because I think that, and he probably referenced it a little bit during the trade deadline, I think it was a lot. It is just a lot. It's the idea of, okay, I could be moving and picking up. And, for Vooch, he's married, he's got 3 young kids. Right. There's a lot of things that go on into that, right? And when it didn't happen, I give him a lot of credit for totally investing into the team and trying to do everything he could to help the group and help the young guys. And he has had a spectacular year. And it speaks to his greatness as a player, where we were, obviously much slower the last couple of years. And he functioned totally fine in the half court with his numbers and what he did. And then all of a sudden we're playing a lot faster, and he's having another great year. He's just a heck of a player. He's really smart. He's got a high IQ. He keeps himself in great shape. I think he was a big catalyst, with Kobe and the voice of those guys, really every day putting their best foot forward as leaders. And Vooch is a major part of that.
Thank you.
Last one.
To the speed of this team, just given his position and size.
He runs a lot better than you think, really straight ahead. He's really good at that, and he's got really, really good endurance. Like, he really works at his conditioning in the off season. He's always in really, really good shape. And again, our style of play wasn't that of playing that way, but he's always in really good shape. So, listen, he's not going to be the first one down the floor. He's not going to be out in sometimes he is. But, as a trail big, how we're playing when these guys start to attack and we don't have something then turn to be able to throw it back to him and he can kind of facilitate the next action. It's really helped us, and I think it's really played to his strengths.
Thank you.